Continue. Good evening, everyone. My name is Connor Shelley, a civil engineer at PennDOT and the project manager for the Birchrun Bridge Replacement Project. With me, I also have Sipti Hassan from PennDOT Plans Unit, Greg Potens from Johnson, Miriam, and Thompson, and Rashawn Simkata from Johnson, Miriam, and Thompson. They are consultants that are helping us progress the roadway hydraulics and structural design. We are hosting this public meeting to present information about the project and answer any questions you may have. At the end of the presentation, we'll open it up for questions and comments using the QA function. If you have a question about a specific slide, feel free to use the numbers in the bottom left to reference to it. For this evening's agenda, we'll be going over the project location, purpose and need, the existing bridge description, environmental resources, project improvements, traffic control, and the project schedule. This project is located on State Route 1030, Birchrun Road in West Vincent Township, Chester County. The bridge carries Birchrun Road over Birch Run. The purpose of this project is to provide a structure that is capable of efficiently and safely handling the existing and expected traffic on Birch Run Road while maintaining an approved hydraulic opening for Birch Run. Both the bridge superstructure and substructure are in poor condition with extensive deterioration, and the bridge shows signs of scour. Due to the poor condition of the bridge, any further deterioration could lead to the implementation of a weight restriction and eventually closure of the bridge. The existing bridge was built in 1923 and is a two-span reinforced concrete slabs bridge with a pier spanning 38 feet. It's labeled as a one-lane bridge with 17 feet clear roadway and has 20-foot wide paved approaches. 435 vehicles use this bridge every day, 11% of which are trucks. Now, to evaluate the project's impact on the surrounding environment, various investigations have been done. First, we'll discuss the historic district. The Birchrunville Historic District completely encompasses the project site. It is listed in the National Register of Historic Places in 1992 under Criterion A for Commerce and Criterion C for Architecture. The period of significance is from circa 1805 to 1920. This is why Birch Run Road Bridge, built in 1923, does not contribute. The character-defining features include the commercial and residential buildings, its rural setting, and the small crossroads village. The Birchrunville Baptist Meeting House, labeled Building 34, is located at 1285 Hollow Road, Chester Springs, PA, and is included in the National Register nomination for Birchrunville Historic District. The property is located immediately southeast of the project area. It was built in 1860 as a Mission Sunday School and closed in 1929, but was rebuilt in 1940 and then used as the headquarters for the Green Valleys Association. The property does contribute to the Birchrunville Historic District as of 1992. Being close to the bridge project, minimizing impacts to the surrounding properties and environment is a top priority with this project. The bridge is located within a detailed FEMA study area. This area is zoned AE. It is not anticipated that the project will increase the FEMA 100-year floodplain. Per Pennsylvania Code Chapter 93, Birch Run is classified as an exceptional value and migratory fishery. The PA Fish and Boat Commission does not classify Birch Run as a wild trout stream or an approved trout stock stream. The stream is marked as a state scenic river as part of the French Creek. Two wetlands were identified within 20 feet of the project site. Both will have minor impacts. A Phase 1 bog turtle survey found that a wetland northwest of the project met the criteria for bog turtle habitat, so we are doing what we can to mitigate impacts such as bog turtle fencing surrounding the wetland project area. The proposed bridge structure is a single-span plank beams bridge carrying 10-foot wide lanes and 3-foot shoulders. This will increase the width of the bridge by about 9 feet. The span of the bridge will also increase to encompass Birch Run better, lowering the existing 100-year floodplain. The existing bridge barrier will be removed and replaced with new up-to-standard guide rail and end treatments where applicable, and visible metal on the guide rail will be painted brown. The proposed alignment is presented below. We plan to connect the existing roadway with two 10-foot lanes across the structure and two 3-foot shoulder. The official detour route is 5.58 miles long and will run between Flowing Springs Road, SR 1030, St. Matthews Road, SR 1031, Conestoga Road, SR 401, and Pottstown Pike, SR 100. We will be utilizing all state routes for the official detour. Birchrun Road will remain open to local traffic and will only be closed at the project location. The project is scheduled to be advertised before October of 2026. Environmental studies are estimated to conclude Q3 of this year, after which final design activities can begin to start Q4. Construction is estimated to last from the beginning to the end of 2027. Now looking through the entire project schedule listed here and explaining the categories. The NEPA studies is a comprehensive study of the environmental impacts and is expected to end by Q3 of 2025. The asterisk indicates that the public involvement will be occurring throughout the design before final NEPA decision is made. Then the geotechnical studies starts and is the process of evaluating and determining if the site is suitable and safe for the proposed project. This is expected to be completed by Q1 of 2026. Right-of-way acquisition, utility conflict resolution, permitting, and final design will run concurrently from Q4 through Q3 of 2026. Project assignment will then occur in Q4 of 2026, and construction is projected to be from Q1 of 2027 through Q4 of 2027. Now I'd like to open the meeting for any questions or comments. Again, if you have a question about a specific slide, feel free to use the numbers in the bottom left to reference it, and I will scroll back to the appropriate slides.
All right, thank you, Connor. Excuse me, this is Greg Potens at JMT. I'm Connor's bridge engineer. I'm here to help out to facilitate the question and answering. So let's just get right to it. We have a couple questions that came in from the public already. I'll just publish the first one into the chat. It says, if you go back to slide 5, Connor, the question is, it looks like the bridge is in pretty rough condition, which makes sense since it's 100 years old. How come it took so long for PennDOT to replace this structure?
Yes, that is a good question. So here's slide 5. And the reason that it takes so long for this to be done is a lot goes into the inspection of the bridges that gets done every 2 years, and that deems whether a weight limit is required. And with this project, we've been working for a while through making sure to mitigate all impacts to both the historic district and the environmental surrounding area. So that is why we're still in the preliminary phase, and as the schedule showed, we're still working through the environmentals.
Thanks, Connor. I can add on to that a little bit too, from the perspective of a bridge engineer. You know, I kind of see a lot of structures around the state, all over the state, and even though this might look pretty rough to the people on the call, it's still safe to use currently. It will be safe until we're ready to do the reconstruction. So a lot of the issues that come up with trying to move these projects is that PennDOT as a whole is kind of underfunded, so they have to kind of prioritize which projects go first in the pecking order. But we're definitely working to get this one out the door for you guys. Let's just move on to the next question. I'll publish this into the chat. Connor, you can handle this one too. It's asking how much this is going to cost.
Okay, I can answer that as well. So scrolling back to the schedule here, the projected construction cost for this project is approximately $1.5 million.
And that 1.5, Connor, that's going to be for the bridge and the roadway work, right?
Yes, it would encompass all of the project.
Great. We have a third question that came through the chat. Well, actually, this is more of a statement than a question. Thanks, Ted. I'll publish this now. It says, thank you for increasing the bridge width to accommodate 2 lanes and shoulders. I believe 4-foot shoulders would be more appropriate. I don't know, Connor, if you want to pan back to your slide with the typical section and maybe add some commentary on why the bridge was widened.
Okay, sure. That is a good point. We currently are working towards our current design for this structure is set to follow current PennDOT standards, and while 4-foot shoulder could be more beneficial. The traffic count was low enough that we were at this step designing for a 3-foot shoulder on each side. We could potentially have it increased for, yeah, if there's interest.
Thanks, Connor. It looks like we actually have a second question. Well, this looks like a statement again from Ted. Let me publish that for you and read it to the group. It says PennDOT needs to spend less effort on historical analysis for the bridge replacements. The structure needs to be replaced. Stop wasting taxpayer dollars. Oh, thank you for your comment, Ted. We're trying to get it replaced as soon as we can. Not a problem.
Yeah, we have a lot going on, obviously, with these studies, and we just have to make sure that we follow everything standards for publications, and are trying to work towards getting this replaced before any more deterioration to the structure.
And, ultimately, whether it's Connor or myself helping him out, we have to follow all the different federal and state regulations for historical preservation. So we're balancing trying to move the project forward for the community with some of these regulations at the same time. It looks like we have another comment that came into the chat. Let me publish this now. This says that we have a number of township officials watching. How can we engage in design details that might further reduce the impact on the rural setting? I'm not sure, Connor, if you could elaborate on that, or if you need some clarification, maybe from the person asking the question.
Yes, Connor, it would be good to have a clarification on the exact impacts we need to discuss about, because we have already went through the PennDOT design standards, trying to minimize, as Connor mentioned, that as one of the participants mentioned, that they would have preferred a 4-foot shoulder, but we tried to minimize it in consideration of reducing the impact. So we are already trying to do that, but it would be good to know what other aspects of the design there would be interest.
Another thing to mention is that I know the announcement posted earlier has a link to our webpage. That webpage has a comment form linked to it on the right side, and that will allow people like the township members to state specifically what they have concerns about, and will better help us address what issues they're interested in. I know in the past as well, with the previous West Vincent Township manager, I was emailing with them directly, and so that also is efficient to assist in the planning and design.
And Connor, it may be time also to mention about the upcoming Section 106 consulting parties meeting that you are planning to mention.
Yes, we do plan to have upcoming consultant parties meeting within a month or two from now, and that will include all consulting parties involved with this project. I believe letters were sent out sometime in February, so we'll be discussing more about the 106 issues and environmental concerns in that as well.
And Connor, as impact on the area was brought up from a hydrology point, I believe your design is definitely at least somewhat improving the hydrology and hydraulic situation around the structure by eliminating the pier. Any idea on how those numbers tally at this time?
Sure. Roshan, would you like to speak on that for how the hydraulics are improving?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Connor. Between existing and proposed situation, we are removing the existing pier from the middle of the creek. So we are seeing, like in the storm events, a lot of these trees are getting caught up in that piers and having the backwater effect. With that pier getting removed, it will make the hydraulic opening more efficient and then the flow more effective in this area. The existing bridge is like the Birch kind of situation. So we see the water surface could go in the approach area before it goes up. We never have experience like this bridge itself is getting flooded. But to minimize the impact on the historic areas and everything. So we are trying to limit our work within the bridge itself. So there's no rise in profiles. And we are like reducing the 100-year water surface in proposed condition than in existing by expanding the span length of the bridge. With that, we are also making the bridge opening bigger than the existing condition. Connor?
Yes. I think that summarized it well.
So, Connor, you had mentioned about this Section 106 meeting. We had a question that came from the public. I'll publish it now. It's asking who goes to these 106 meetings. Maybe you could elaborate a little bit about what that is.
So the Section 106 meeting is going to be hosted by PennDOT. I know Monica is one person involved that had been in charge of sending out letters for it, but essentially it will go to all consulting parties. That includes township officials and property owners that are being directly impacted by the work that we do.
And if I may add, Connor, that I do not know how your discussion with Monica is going, but it is a possibility of requesting as a participant through the form at this point, just in case someone has not received any such invitation.
Yes, and also I know that the Section 106 involves national historic preservation and how it requires federal agencies to take into account the effects of any project work on historic properties.
Thank you, Connor. Looks like we had another comment from Ted here. Let me publish this one into the chat. This is saying that with the bikes and the pedestrians that use the area, the 4-foot shoulders would be better. The bridge will be there for 100 years, hopefully. Will definitely be there for a 100-year design cycle. But that's noted. Thank you, Ted. I don't know, Connor, if you have any more information that you want to say of why the 3-foot shoulder was selected? I know that there's roadway design criteria that you have to follow.
The considerations were that for like a low traffic count, it was lower, and the truck traffic though on this route, the percent of larger vehicles is at 11%, which required us to increase it to 3 feet to help accommodate that. And the addition of the 3-foot shoulder will definitely help with bike and pedestrian traffic on the bridge, because it obviously provides an area off to the side that they can use instead of the current situation that is 17 feet of clear zone. That is pretty tough, even with the one, just even with a smaller car crossing. So the 4-foot could add another foot of safety for sure, but that's why we're still in this preliminary phase. So we will take that into consideration.
And I'm going to publish the last question that we have in here so far. Well, this is kind of a statement again, which is interesting. This is an alternate perspective from the previous question, saying that the West Vincent Historical Commission believes that there's design details that could further reduce the impacts. I think the impacts here, they mean in the context of impacts to the surrounding site, the surrounding properties. One could be reducing the shoulder, and other details might be discussed. So possibly, Connor, this will be part of your 106 meeting.
Yes,
yeah.
I think.
And if I may add, just Connor, to that, we did have a stakeholder meeting, and all the township and all elected officials and county officials were invited 2 weeks ago. And you have published the meeting minute for that meeting, I believe.
The meeting minutes have been sent out. I'm awaiting more comments, and then will be officially published on Friday.
And therefore, we would definitely encourage West Vincent Township, if there are members among the stakeholders, to provide us feedback on that meeting minutes, because that way it is an engineering aspect of the design, which we would be encouraging all the stakeholders to provide feedback. And we are getting feedback today from others as well. And all of these factors will be considered in the final determination of the design specs for the roadway. And that is a point that the stakeholders already had an additional window to provide their inputs. So we strongly feel, we hope that that input comes through, and we are receiving public inputs today. And as I believe you already mentioned, Connor, based on the nature of the traffic, we did think about reduced shoulder width, but we could not at this point see the design being less than 3 feet. But we'll continue to have that discussion. But definitely we would want the stakeholder inputs. Thank you.
Thank you, Sipti. I could add on to that for a little bit from a bridge perspective. I know that we have wetlands immediately northwest of the structure. We used U-wings, again, to kind of reduce that impact of any additional right-of-way takes that we'd have to make, as well as on the southeast wing wall of the structure. We use some temporary excavation support to be able to maintain the existing stone wall that's adjacent to the structure. I know that our bridge team, in conjunction with Water Resource, Rashawn's team, and Connor's roadway design, we all really worked hard to limit the pay limits between the beginning and end of work on the structure so that we'd be able to keep the intersection that's immediately east of the bridge for the community. So it looks like we have another question that came into the chat right now. Let me publish this and see if Connor, if you could provide some insight here. It says, we have a number of township officials watching. How can they engage in the design THLs that might further? We have an adjacent property owner here who has many comments. He would like to comment with voice dialogue. I'm not sure, Connor, if you have the ability to do a voice dialogue in this meeting, do you?
I think that will be for the
sorry
consulting
to interrupt
parties.
there. This is a public meeting. This is a forum we follow, and that's why we did have the stakeholder meeting 2 weeks ago. All parties were invited. At this point, we definitely would want the feedback from all stakeholders, including the township officials, through the meeting minutes. And if additional engagements are requested, we are always open for additional inputs. But just so that everyone is aware, there was a stakeholder meeting 2 weeks ago, and everyone was invited to that. All stakeholders were, and we will be keeping the communications open for future dialogue.
Yeah, and consulting parties definitely includes citizens who have properties adjacent.
Yes, for stakeholders, definitely we have everyone, including the township. I believe you invited township, school district.
Yes, they were all on.
And elected officials and county officials, and also emergency services. Am I missing out any other parties that were invited to the stakeholder meeting?
I think that covered everybody. Yeah.
So we will continue our engagement with the wide stakeholder body, and we will be considering all the important feedback we are receiving from the public today.
Here, let me go back to the.
So Greg, I believe there is another question that came in.
Yeah, let me publish that one in the chat. It looks like there may have been an answer in the chat already. It said that the adjacent owners were not included to the meeting that you were just talking about, SIPD. I don't know if can you provide some clarification there?
Yes, I can. And that's why I specifically mentioned the parties that were invited to the stakeholder meeting. And adjacent property owners are not included in the stakeholder meeting, but definitely we continue to engage with them at every phase. And one of them today is just one of those engagements. And I believe, Connor, you may verify it, the Section 106 engagement letters, the CP letters, it probably did include the adjacent property owners.
Yes, that is correct. It should include the adjacent property owners with the upcoming consulting parties meeting.
But the only variation between the engineering meeting and the consulting party meeting. That one will primarily focus on the historic nature and associated items.
Yes, correct.
All right, thank you, Sifi. I don't see any other questions in the chat right now. As Connor mentioned before, you can add them right in the Q&A forum. Note the slide in the bottom left of the screen. All right, maybe we'll just give a little bit more time to see if anyone wants to add any last questions. Right now, we don't have any pending questions in the chat. I guess while we're waiting, Connor, I'm not sure if you want to show that project schedule again for the public so they can see the tentative dates for construction.
Sure, yeah.
All right, if there's no other questions, maybe Connor, if you'd like to wrap this up.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you, Greg. I will go to the next slide here. So I'd just like to reiterate the point we've already said today, that a consultant party meeting will be taking place in an upcoming date to discuss more of Section 106 concerns. And I'd like to thank everyone for their time today and thank you for participating.